Spoilers for JJK 266, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Yuji's domain expansion now that we've seen a bit more of it. So let's dive in. Alright, so first we need to rewind to 265 where we see Yuji and Sukuna in his Yuji form trouncing all over Japan, right? Yuji is taking his uncle on a trip down memory lane to see the places he grew up and frequented. Now, interestingly, we didn't know what this was. Could it have been Yuji's domain expansion? Was it an afterlife limbo scene? Most fascinatingly, Sukuna didn't know what it was. He even says, like, is this your domain expansion? And he even compares it to the moment when two sorcerers are at the peak of Jujutsu. They can kind of enter another place. And we saw that once before when Sukuna and Jogo were fighting with their fire technique standoff. You know, he kind of enters that white realm and, you know, tells Jogo, stand proud, you were strong, right? But Sukuna says, this is not that. So he doesn't know what it is. Now, at the time, I leaned Afterlife Limbo, but now after 266, I think all of this was Yuji's domain. Now, I think this for two reasons. The first being that Yuji threatens Sukuna, saying, I can kill you, meaning he hasn't killed him yet. And then even more importantly, after Yuji says that, Sukuna goes back to his true form and they start throwing hands. And as you can see in the background here, they are still not where they were. They're not in Shinjuku, meaning these backgrounds are Yuji's domain expansion and presumably somewhere in Japan, just like the trip down memory lane was. So that all leads me to believe that they've been in the domain the entire time. But if that's the case, then what was this section of it? Well, I think it's a unique part of Yuji's domain and most likely a binding vow that imposes non-violence, just like Higuruma's courtroom. However, it's different in that Yuji can end that non-violence, but only after he gives his opponents a chance for mercy, like we saw, like was the entire purpose of the trip down memory lane, to give Sukuna a viewpoint into someone else's perspective so that he could perhaps see where Yuji was coming from. Then Yuji gives him that one last chance. I can kill you, so release Fushiguro and I'll spare your life. Sukuna, of course, turns this down, and so I think that perhaps fulfilled Yuji's binding vow of he catches somebody in the domain, there is first non-violence and gives them one last chance. Again, there is symbolism of the Bodhisattva of mercy and compassion, and again, just Yuji's entire character arc, it all falls very in line with him giving people a chance at mercy and, you know, empathy and compassion. But again, Sukuna turns that down, and once that happens, Sukuna returns to his true form and the fighting begins. Now, what purpose might this serve? Well, I can only imagine that it makes Yuji's domain that much stronger. The fact that he gives people a chance at a final out probably empowers the domain should they not take that chance. Very similarly to Sukuna's own binding vow in his domain that increases the range significantly by providing an escape route. Essentially the same exact principle at play, which might also explain Yuji's confidence when he says, I can kill you. The metaphorical scissors of Yuji's cleave already in position, ready to cut Sukuna's strings. Or maybe that's all completely wrong, and maybe we'll find out more during tomorrow night's leaks. But let me know y'all's thoughts down below, and thank you so much for watching.